Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm comparing two pen displays for digital artists, and this is the Huion Canvas Pro 19 and this is the XP Pen Artist Pro 19 Gen 2. The Huion is a touch screen, the XP Pen is not a touch screen. So this comparison review is actually a request from some of you guys, and I just so happen to have both review units still with me. So I hope this is going to be a brief review because I have already reviewed these two in great detail on this YouTube channel and also on my blog. So if you want the extra details, please go check out those reviews that I will link to in the video description below. And also do me a favor, if you have the intention to buy any one of these, consider using the affiliate links that I have for you in the video description below as well to support my YouTube channel and also the work that I do here. Before I start the comparison, let me tell you the disclaimer. Both Huion and XP Pen have been providing me with review units to review on my YouTube channel and blog for several years, so big thanks to them. So let's take a look at the items included. Both pen displays support USB-C and HDMI video connection, and all the appropriate cables are provided. They have also provided the interchangeable plugs for the power adapter depending on your country. And for the pens, each company has provided two pens. One's a thinner one and one's a thicker one. For Huion, the thicker pen has 3 buttons, and for XP Pen, the thicker pen has 2 buttons and this roller. And both companies have provided many pen tip replacements, including felt tips. Both pen displays do not have any hotkeys, but the companies have provided shortcut remotes. So this is the Huion K20 Keydown Mini, and this is the XP Pen ACK05 shortcut remote. And you can see the Huion K20 is kind of big, and this one from XP Pen is smaller, and both have numerous buttons and the roller or dial. Both have built-in rechargeable batteries and both use Bluetooth connection. Both pen displays have been color calibrated at the factory, and the average delta E for sRGB is less than 1. So anything less than 2 is good, less than 1 is fantastic. Let's take a look at the physical design for both pen displays, and they both look good. So both are using 18.4-inch LCD with 4K UHD resolution, so the aspect ratio is 16:9. Refresh rate is 60 Hz. And you can see the XP Pen is actually larger, even though both displays are of the same size. The corners for the XP Pen are rounder, and for the XP Pen there is this wrist rest area. For the Huion it's almost symmetrical, and the edges for both are beveled slightly so that you don't cut your fingers by the side, and both can be lifted very easily because there is this indent by the side. On the back, you will see that both pen displays have fold-out feet, and the build quality for both is solid. Both are made with metal backs, and this is matte textured. So both fold-out feet will deploy the pen displays at a certain angle that I had forgotten. Both companies did not provide any stands because the stands are already built into the pen display. If you want to use VESA mount, the dimensions are 7.5 by 7.5 centimeters for both pen displays. This is the angle of deployment for the Huion. The power button and the touch screen lock is up here, and the ports by the side are 2 USB-C and 1 3.5mm audio jack. This is the angle of deployment for the XP Pen, and the ports for the XP Pen are located at the top. There are 2 USB-C and controls or buttons for the brightness and power. I've just connected the Huion and XP Pen displays to separate laptops running Windows 11, and I have increased the brightness on both to 100%. Now for the Huion, to use the OSD menu, you just press and hold the power button until the OSD appears. There is no OSD for the XP Pen, so if you need to do any manual color adjustments, you will either have to use the XP Pen driver or use your OS display settings. Both pen displays do not support pass-through charging, so even if the pen display is connected to power, this is not going to charge the laptop that it's connected to. And you can use third-party USB-C video cables from other companies with both pen displays. And this is my own L-shaped cable. And this is actually the Huion cable used with the XP Pen. So both pen displays actually look really good. The 4K UHD sharpness is really satisfying to look at. The main difference between these two pen displays is the Huion is a touch screen, and this touch screen will work well with Windows but not so well with Mac OS. Now Huion is currently testing a driver to have better touch screen support for Mac OS, and I am currently testing that, but it doesn't work well as of the time of making this video. So if you want to use touch screen, it's best to use it with Windows. Both pen displays are using matte glass. They are not using matte screen protectors, so it's very unlikely for the pen to scratch the display. I would say the anti-glare on the XP Pen seems to be better. Better as in when there is diffuse reflection on the display, I can still kind of see what's on the screen. On the Huion, it's a bit more difficult to see what's on the screen when there is diffused reflection on the display. So this will affect the contrast more on the Huion than on the XP Pen matte glass surface. Anyway, when you're working with the pen display, you're most likely looking at the pen display straight on, so the anti-glare or diffuse reflection should not be a problem. Let's take a closer look at the 4K sharpness on the Huion display. 4K resolution has a lot of pixels, and this matte glass on the Huion does introduce some softness. By the way, the cursor tracking up to the extreme edge is really accurate. Yeah, so there is some softness. And this is the XP Pen, which is slightly sharper, and cursor tracking up to the extreme edge is also, as you can see, very accurate. And here's a side-by-side comparison of the sharpness with the Huion on the left and the XP Pen on the right. So with a side-by-side comparison, I can see the sharpness of the Huion display is slightly softer, but it's not too bad. It's definitely not a deal breaker. Both are still very good high-resolution displays. Now, one very important thing you have to take note is some of the drawing apps may not have been updated to run on high-resolution screens. So the app itself may be pixelated. So if you notice something very wrong with the sharpness, it could actually be due to the app not being updated for 4K high-res or high DPI displays. Let's talk about color support. So using a color calibrator, I measured color support for 98% sRGB for both displays, 93% Adobe RGB for the Huion, 91% Adobe RGB for the XP Pen, 88% P3 for the Huion, 85% P3 for the XP Pen. So the Huion actually has slightly better color accuracy. For maximum brightness, I measured 213 nits for the Huion and 230 nits for the XP Pen. So the XP Pen has slightly higher brightness. Now do note that in order to achieve maximum brightness, you will have to connect the pen displays to a power source. The USB-C port from the laptops will not be able to power the pen displays at 100% brightness. And now it's time for the line test, starting with the Huion pen display. The app that I'm using is Clip Studio Paint, and this is how thick the brush is. So I'm going to use this piece of paper here to help me draw a thin line. Let me try and draw with minimal pressure. I am barely applying any pressure. You can see I'm holding the pen from the back, so I'm barely applying any pressure at all, drawing 3 slow diagonal lines. The lines look pretty straight to me, and the initial activation force of this pen is very low, so this is a very sensitive pen. And this is the XP pen. And this is how thick the brush really is, and let's draw some slow diagonal lines again. I am barely applying any pressure. Both pens support tilt and up to 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. And the lines look pretty straight as well. The lines look identical, so without the labels, I will not be able to tell you which lines came from which pen display. So both pens are really sensitive, and the initial activation force for both pens is really low. So it's very easy to draw thin lines even with a thick brush selected. Let's look at the tapered strokes. Lines are able to taper smoothly and sharply. Line transition from thin to thick. We have smooth transition, and this is also a diagonal line, and I do not see any diagonal line wobble or jitter. And I am able to draw thin lines after drawing thick lines. So this pen is capable of detecting minor changes with pressure easily. And this is the XP pen. Lines are able to taper quite smoothly and sharply. And this is the line transition from thin to thick. Transition seems to be quite smooth. Now this is also a diagonal line, and I can see slight diagonal line wobble here, but it's minor. Let's see if we can maintain consistent line width by maintaining consistent pressure. Yes, we can. Let's draw some dots. No problem. Line consistency for the XP pen. This is good. No problems with dots. Cursor misalignment test. I will draw separate lines and try to join them to see if there will be gaps or if the lines will overshoot. So after calibration, there should not be any cursor misalignment, and I am able to join the lines without gaps and without the lines overshooting. And you can see the thin and thick lines, so the pressure sensitivity does make the lines look better. You can see the line overshooting here slightly, but that's probably due to human error, my error. Same thing here on the XP pen, drawing separate lines and try to join them. I am looking at the pen tip and not at where the cursor is, so as you can see, I am able to join the lines without gaps and without the lines overshooting. Another thing I want to test is whether the cursor will stray away when I change the angle of the pen drastically. So this is me holding the pen normally at 45 degrees, and this is the pen at 90 degrees vertical. So the cursor barely moves. So this is great. And this is the XP pen. So I'm holding the pen at 45 degrees now, and now the pen is vertical, 45 degrees vertical, and the cursor barely moves. So this is great as well. In terms of drawing performance, I would say you can get slightly better line quality from the Huion pen display, because when I drew these wavy lines freehand, I can see slight diagonal line wobble. You can see some there and some here. But these are line tests and they may not be representative of actual drawing experience. So when I try to draw this box, you can see the diagonal lines, they are kind of straight, except for this last line here, which probably is due to human error. For the Huion, I do not see any diagonal line wobble. And I don't see that here as well. And for this box, you can see the diagonal lines, they are straight. This last line again has some wobble due to handshake. The drawing experience on both pen displays is very satisfying. The matte glass texture provides a nice tactile drawing experience, and if you need even more texture, you can actually replace the plastic pen tip with the felt tips. Oh, the pen's third button. When you press the third button on the Huion pen, this pop-up menu will appear and you can customize up to 6 shortcuts. You can also fix the pop-up menu permanently on the display. Now, one downside for this is it may or may not work properly depending on the drawing app you use. This is the pen from XP Pen, and there is a roller here which you can customize with up to 4 shortcuts, and you can switch between the shortcuts by using another button, and I've set that shortcut button here. So when you press the shortcut button, this pop-up menu will appear and you can choose between the different tools or controls you want, and you can customize these controls as well. So let's say I want to switch or adjust brush size. So now when I use the roller, you can see the brush size actually changes. The speed of adjustment for the roller can be customized with the driver. It's either fast or slow, and the speed of the roller will also depend on the drawing app you use. For example, with Clip Studio Paint, I can adjust the brush size quite quickly. With Medibank Paint, when I adjust the brush size, it increases or decreases pixel by pixel, which is very slow. Let's look at Rotate. So Rotate does not work with this app. If you want Rotate to work, you have to find out whether your app actually supports Rotate, and you can find out the keyboard shortcuts for Rotate and customize those keyboard shortcuts into the XP Pen driver to get Rotate to work. This is Zoom, works fine. Alright, to conclude, which pen display would I recommend? Now, each pen display has its own pros and cons, so it really comes down to what features or what kind of performance you prefer. For example, if you want slightly better pen performance, I would recommend Huion, but the pen performance for XP Pen is really good as well. If you want slightly better matte glass quality, XP Pen is better. If you want a touch screen, Huion is better. In terms of value for money, I will probably go with XP Pen because the official retail price for this is US $900, and it may be even lower depending on whether there is any promotion. Official retail price for the Huion is $1,100, and it can be lower depending on whether there is any promotion as well. So the higher price is probably due to the touch screen. Okay, now it's actually off. Now, touch screen is a nice feature to have, but for me, it's not really a must-have feature. If you're someone who draws on your iPad or Android tablet quite often, maybe it would be better to go with the Huion for the touch screen, because I actually draw on my iPad and Android tablet quite often, and when I use the XP Pen, I keep using the finger gestures only to realize that this is not a touch screen. But I guess you will get used to switching between using a touch screen tablet versus a non-touch screen pen display with time. But now you have the options here. You can go with the touch screen or go without the touch screen, depending on the budget you have. I think I've covered as much as I could, so if you guys have intention to buy these pen displays, do consider using the affiliate links that I have in the video description below to support the work that I do here. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.